All right, folks, it's time for the next video in my summer update tour inventory series. This is what I call the root crop garden bed because it was originally created so I can grow root crops, as I've mentioned before. All of my soil is basically rock. I'll give you a little idea of what I have. It's this. It's basically rock and heavy clay. So I built this bed so I could grow things like carrots and parsnips and potatoes and things and dig them up easily without tearing up the roots whenever I'm digging them up. So there we go, the root crop garden bed. And one plant you're going to see a lot of is this one, fuzzy bean. You're going to see it all over the place because I'm trying to improve the soil in this garden bed. When I first built it, I put a lot more sand in it than I really had wanted to put in or should have put in. And so now I'm trying to improve the soil as best I can. And that's one of the methods I'm using. You'll also see this plant as well, the sunflower. I got multiple species of sunflower in here. It's also part of the soil improvement strategy. So let's get this sucker started properly. Yeah, I think that'll do it. All right, so here we go. We have a quince, nice little tree I'll be using for jellies. And we have a potato that grew back. We didn't plant it this year, but I have mentioned that if we ever have any extra potatoes from the kitchen and they're going bad, we just slap them in the ground. And if they grow, they grow. And if they don't, well, you know, it was going bad anyway. And we have this right here, which is a sweet potato. And we do them the same way as we do potatoes. Here's another background noise plant that's edible. This is prairie tea. You've seen it in my other garden beds. It improves the soil and it's edible. Now on the fuzzy bean, there are some archaeological reports that show that it's edible. These are like early Europeans coming through the area claiming to see Native Americans eating this plant. I have not as of yet found any other information saying that it's edible. So I would put it as questionable in terms of the edibility column. But I'm going to grow it anyway because it does fix nitrogen and it does improve the soil. So I think I'm going to step on outside the bed here. It'd be a little easier to film some of the stuff on the edge. What you see here, all this looks like dead plant, is actually wild native onion that's gone to seed. And you'll see it has escaped the bed. You'll see it's inside the bed here. And it's currently covered in fuzzy bean. But I largely just let the seeds drop and let it spread all over the property because it is a native edible. Of course, you see more fuzzy bean and more prairie tea all over the place, and sunflower. Down here, we have some thyme that's self-seeded from the plant behind it right there. This plant up here just keeps getting very dry because it's kind of on a slope. So it's self-seeded down here, and we're gonna kind of just let it grow there because it seems to like it better. All right, so now you're gonna see a whole bunch of this stuff here. This is actually chives. You're gonna see it growing all the way down like a border, all the way along the edge. And it has escaped the bed down here. We kind of just let it grow all the way down until we get to the end. Now you're gonna see some oregano, nice big patch of oregano. It goes all the way back. When I go back in the garden bed, I'll show you the other side. And you can see, you're gonna see tons of these guys, these little pom-poms. It's actually garlic seed heads. So like the onion, this time of the year, the garlic, it seeds and dies back, it goes dormant. So you'll see that all along this border here, this of the garden bed. This is the edge of it. And you're gonna see here that I have a little cedar elm, and I have a couple more trees along this edge and some elbow bush, Foresteria pubescens, growing because I'm using them as a living trellis, but also to hold up this side of the garden bed. When I first built this, I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was kind of doing it on the cheap. I just used what I had, which I have an abundance of ash juniper logs, and it seems to be holding it together nicely. So I'm going to include this in my root crop garden bed, but once you escape the actual raised bed portion, you get down into this bed, which is all garlic. I don't currently have a crop that grows whenever the garlic goes dormant. But you can see this is all the dormant garlic. And down here we have some more thyme right here. And of course you'll see all the fuzzy bean growing all throughout that area. Come down a little further, I call this my domestic onion bed. This time of the year, the domestic onions, they've gone dormant, so you're not gonna see them. Oh, look at this. Oh, he took off. Of course he does. Every time I try to film any type of wildlife, it just disappears. Anyway, this is the domestic onion bed. They've gone dormant, but in its place, this grows year long, I have just a nice big patch of wild strawberry. You can see it goes all the way back. And mixed in we have some desmanthus, which I have a video on my channel speaking about, dedicated to desmanthus, which again, questionable edibility, although there's a bit more research on desmanthus, and it does appear that it's going to be quite edible. So I'm letting it grow and spread. But it does definitely improve your soil as well. And yes, there we go. I have a short on my channel dedicated to this little guy. This is horse mint. Also, I think it's called spotted bee balm, but it is in the mint family. And very pungent, very strong. And the pollinators absolutely love it. What I was trying to film was a bumblebee that was on it that escaped. Let's see. I think I will go ahead, step here into the back. I'm trying to think best on how to film this sucker. And I think that's going to cover all the stuff outside of the garden bed. One thing I'm going to film, which I don't remember last year if I included it with my Mustang grape garden bed, but this year I'm going to include it with the root crop garden bed, because these are roots and it's a crop. It's pretty much all wild native onion. So you can see back up in here all the little dried out seed heads mixed in with some horse mint, which I have growing all over the place, and desmanthus, which is currently dropping its little beans all over the place. All right, we will have a magical transition and end up back in the root crop garden bed. Okay, now I'm going to step inside the root crop garden bed, and I'm going to mention this right here, a mesquite, which produces edible beans. Technically, it's growing in the root crop garden bed, but you can see I've kind of coerced it into growing further back so I can get more light in. This is something that I don't include usually in a garden bed. I usually include it when I do tours of my native area and my walk and talks. But you can see I've got native cactus specific, it's a prickly pear, but this is a phenotype specific to this area. And I've mentioned before that I always try to keep the same phenotypes to this area. So when I first started the video, this is where I started. Then I stepped back and did my onion bed. And you see I've got a very sad little basil down in here, which was starving for light, but that's because I let it get overgrown with this fuzzy bean. I have mentioned before, fuzzy bean can get out of hand very easily. So it does, take management. Okay, I got a worm bucket right here. And let's see what else we got. It's almost like an Easter egg hunt coming in this garden bed. Okay, so we have some leeks right here. See them down here going to seed. We got 3 of them or so, 4 of them down in there. Let's see, okay, we've got another basil, a little purple basil down here. It's doing a little bit better. All right, take a look at this. So the Georgia collard, I've mentioned it before, I have it all over the place. It went to seed, and then you can see it's starting to sprout back. This little guy right here looked just like that one right there not too long ago. So very hardy plant. It can have its leaves eaten completely off and it comes right back. Of course, these didn't have them eaten off. Partially did, but when it goes to seed, it starts to look very sickly. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so you can see in the back, that's where the chives are on the outside of the bed. Got a basil nestled down in here, right there. Okay. And I just wanted to cut in to point out that I missed this domesticated onion, and I noticed it in editing. Like I said, it's like a seek and find. Okay, we got some more of that garlic out here on this outer edge. And, you can see the oregano that I showed you already on the outside spreading up in here. Okay, so we have Chile pequin right there. You can see the last year's growth that I still haven't cut off on it. More of the garlic, more Georgia collard sprouting back after it's seeded. Okay, and you see tons of sunflowers, more Georgia collard, and right back here we have asparagus. So those stalks coming out of the ground there along the border, you can see it's laid over, falling over there. That's all asparagus. Forget what year it is. Oh, hey, look, here you go. There's a seed pod on the fuzzy bean. So, let's see. I know I've got more asparagus. Oh, yeah. Right here, some more asparagus growing on the back side of the bed because it likes to lay over. See, there's the stalks there laying over in the back. Got an oak tree for a living trellis that I keep pruned down. I wish this plant had leaves on it because I wanted to show it, but I think this might be white man's foot. We'll have to wait till next year so I can show you. Mentioned there's the tons of prairie tea that there is in here, and of course, I got a rose nestled back in here right there. I know I've got some other things. It's really difficult to find. Oh, look at this. Yeah, got an asparagus right here. You see, I have to, right there. This right here is asparagus. You can see the frizzy little fronds right there. I think it'd be easier if I step back around to the other side of the row to show what else I got in here. As I'm coming back out, let's see what else I've got. See, I've got another Georgia collard going in there and some more garlic. And here's a good example of how it sprouts back. This here is a very old Georgia collard. You can see it sprouting back after seeding. And another Georgia collard right here. I do believe this one may have crossbred with purple tree collard because it gets a bit of a purple color to it. It looks slightly different. But it survived the freeze, so maybe I created a tree collard that survived a freeze. Who knows? We'll see. Okay, coming back out. I've already showed those Georgia collards. I know it's very messy. And here's another Georgia collard coming back nicely. Oh yeah, we do have some new growth on this guy that I showed. Yeah, very good. Let's see what else we got in here. I know I'm missing something. I'm looking for, oh, here we go. Oh, back here underneath this growth, we have some lettuce, some domesticated lettuce. I forgot what variety, but there you go. Pretty neat that it's growing this late in the summer. I got some oak tree sproutings I need to get out of there. All right, let's see what else we got. More Georgia collard. May have already filmed that, actually. We got a Swiss chard down here. Survived the winter, which is very good. And I think as far as the root crop garden bed goes, that's it. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Oh, I did. Of course I did. What is this? It's a carrot. Right here. Got a carrot down there. I probably have lots of other things nestled inside this garden bed that just generally self-seed. But okay, you can see the back side of that oregano patch here. Just spread all over the place. It's all up under there like a underground, not underground, but like undergrowth in this garden bed. Seems to enjoy the shade pretty much. But I don't think, usually, most years I plant more in here. Oh yeah, I missed this. Turk's cap. It's edible. I want to say the leaves, the flower pods, and the flowers are edible. Let's see what else we got. I usually plant stuff up in here, but I don't think I have anything there this year. And I think that will cover it. What's next? This stuff in here. And pardon the background noise of the the air conditioner. Like I said, it is 100 degrees, and just coming out here to film, even in the evening, is just a sweat-inducing escapade. So thanks for bearing with me. Later, folks.
This is pretty much the worst video ever made.